they have failed because of his leftist ideology. And the choice for America is this. What Biden and Harris and Newsom want to do is take the California model and do that nationally. In Florida, we showed that conservative principles work. This country must choose freedom over failure.
Governor Newsom, your reaction?
Well, it's good to be with you, Sean. It's nice also to see you in a tie as well tonight. Good to be with you, Ron. And
I dressed up for the occasion, Governor.
No, I'm impressed and I'm grateful. Look, it's an important occasion. This is an important conversation, and I think it's
Governor
Gruesome. They're probably wondering, what are we actually doing here? And I want to answer that.
Please subscribe if you haven't.
I'm here.
My upload for the day.
About the Biden-Harris record, and also compare and contrast Ron Desantos' record and
The debate between the governors.
as a point of contrast that's as different as daylight and darkness. You want to bring us back to a pre-1960s world, America in reverse. You want to roll back hard-earned national rights on voting rights, on civil rights, on LGBTQ
Red
rights,
versus blue
rights,
state.
not just access to abortion, but also access to contraception. You want to weaponize grievance. You are focusing on false separateness. You in particular, Ron, are on a banning binge, a cultural purge, intimidating and humiliating people you disagree with. You and President Trump are really trying to light democracy on fire.
Their first question was, why are all people leaving California going to Florida?
But there's one thing in closing that we have in common is neither of us will be the nominee for our party in 2024.
Governor, great opening statement, but it did not address the issue. Can you explain this migration out of California and going to red states? Blue states?
Well, hold on. You mean the last 2 years, more Floridians going to California than Californians going to Florida?
No, I put up on
By the way, that's going to be fun to fact check, so we'll just start right there. California has no peers. California dominates, size of 21 state populations combined. It's the 5th largest economy in the world. We dominate, number 1 manufacturing state. We dominate in two-way trade and research and development, access to innovation, more scientists, more researchers, more engineers, more Nobel laureates.
More bullshitters.
California than any other state in the nation, the finest system of higher education. It's the birthplace of life science and biotech and nanotechnology. We dominate in green tech.
And it's the birthplace of Chinese biolabs.
So with respect, I think it's an interesting campaign strategy for Ron Desantos to be bashing a state of 40 million Americans when California simply has no peers.
Well, that's a pretty slick way of not answering your question. He went on a binge of putting out a lot of left-wing platitudes. Here's what I would say. I talked to a lot of the people that have moved from California to Florida, and we never used to get people from California to Florida, or really anywhere in the East, because why would you leave California? It's got the best weather, great natural forces. Excuse me, sir. So, but one of the things that I did, I had talking to a gentleman, a couple.
Guys, I'm gonna let the debate breathe, but it's his turn. Let's take turns.
So I was talking to a fella who had made the move from California to Florida, and he was telling me that Florida is much better governed, safer, better budget, lower taxes, all this stuff. And he's really happy with the quality of life. And then he paused and he said, by the way, I'm Gavin Newsom's father-in-law. So we do count Gavin's in-laws as some of the people that have fled California and come to the state of Florida. And
imagine that.
Why are we getting people to come? We have a 50-year low in the crime rate. You don't see in the last 10 years, we've had a 45% decline in homelessness. California's had a 45% increase in homelessness. We back the blue. I was walking the streets of San Francisco a couple months ago, and I had some of the cops in San Francisco do a beeline to come over to me, and I didn't know what they were going to say. And they're like, we want to thank you for standing for law enforcement, because we don't get that support in the state of California. So people understand quality of life matters. They understand that Florida's doing it right, and I can tell you the numbers speak for themselves. We have way more people moving to this state than leaving. Gavin can't say the opposite. More people are leaving California than are moving into California.
Coming to California the other way around the last 2 years. Let's talk about crime.
Governor, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
You said a lot of things were factually untrue, including that 50-year crime low, which his own law enforcement team said should not be used.
You have yet to address the issue, but I asked you twice. You don't want to answer it. But the issue of why the migration out of red states, out of blue states.
We just established more Floridians coming to California in the last 2 years than the
overall. You had a net loss of 7.
It's a fact.
Asserted it.
It's a fact.
No, it's not a fact.
It is a
Moving on. Let's go. Your states have vastly different income
Please
tax rates,
subscribe
okay?
so I can
what
bring
it
you
is.
more.
These are the facts. California's highest rate for top earners, 13%. Married couple, for example, in California, earning a median income of $84,000, they have a 6% income tax in the state of California. Florida's income tax rate is 0% across all salaries, but it goes beyond income taxes. Property taxes are lower in California, but everything else is higher. Let's take a look at the numbers. These are the facts. The average property tax in California, 0.75%, Florida, 0.91%. Sales tax, California, 7.25%, Florida, 6%. Gas tax rate, California, 77
Well, that answers the question why people are leaving.
Low estimate. It's up to $1 when you include mandatory fees, and in Florida, it's 35 cents. Corporate income tax, California, 8.84%, Florida, 5.5%. Governor Newsom, this is your question. Let me ask you. Obviously, you support a different philosophy, which
Absolutely.
is higher taxes.
Yes. Oh, well, no, hold on.
Please subscribe, and thank you to the new subscribers.
It's a very different approach, and I agree with you completely.
We're doing it, Patriots, little by little, right? We're getting this channel going.
The most regressive state in America. And what that means is simply this. Who does he tax? He taxes low-income workers more than we tax millionaires and billionaires in the state of California. The question is a simple one. Who, Ron, are you for? It's a factual lie that the state of California's high tax has the highest tax rate. But for whom? And it's a foundational and fundamental difference. You look at states like Texas, overwhelming majority of Texans pay more taxes than the state of California. So again, it's who you're for. And I think those values...
And I'm for the red.
Bringing up the issue of taxes.
How many people...
As you guys already know.
...to go to California because they pay less taxes? I've not seen that. Are people going from Florida to New York because they pay less taxes? Of course not.
Hell no.
They come to Florida,
We're leaving New York,
pay
too.
lower taxes. We don't even have an income tax, and yet California has a higher sales tax than we do, and that's one of the things that we do. But here's the thing, and I'll give Gavin credit. He did at least admit in his first answer, he's joined at the hip with Biden and Harris. He thinks Biden and Harris have done a great job. He thinks the economy is working because of their policies for Americans, and they are not. And so what California represents is the Biden-Harris agenda on steroids.
They do.
More than to get 4 more years to be able to take
No, they're
the
not.
California model nationally. That would be disastrous for working people.
Well, talk about working people. They pay more in your state than the state of California charges for billionaires and millionaires, and it's just a value proposition.
True.
It's a fact. Again, you can't make.
You have $6 or $7 a gallon gas. How do they afford that? These are folks that are blue collar people. You're going to force everybody to buy an electric vehicle. How are they going to be able to afford electric vehicles?
The one that nobody is selling, and their lots are overflowing with electrics,
because they've got Silicon Valley billionaires. They've got a lot
and they're
of
burning down.
They've got a lot of people
69 to 90% of the minerals come from China.
That's who's been leaving California. They've been leaving in other places. They go to Arizona. They go to Nevada.
To build these things that nobody buys, that this idiot wants to push. Not Ron. Gavin. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. See you tomorrow.